The idea is to hear candidates' views on a variety of subjects submitted by members of the public. We've had a very good response to people sending questions in. And I hope the questions you hear cover what you want to ask, even though we've had to merge some of the questions. And I don't think we'll manage to cover everything, but we'll do as well as we can. So, without any more ado, can we welcome our candidates? First of all, we have Browne for the Labour Party, Chris Flossman for the Green Party, Dominic Graham for the Liberal Democrat Party, Mark Hughes for the United Kingdom Independence Party, and Bernard Jenkin for the Conservative Party. So our first question, we're all asked by three people connected with our churches.
Can you explain the difference between the deficit and the national debt? Also, the UK lags behind other countries in productivity. How would you address these major economic issues?
Right, thank you. And the first one is Dominic.
Good evening. Thanks for that question. The difference between the deficit and the debt, I think that's to start with. The national debt is how much we borrowed from the country and how we rise it. The deficit is...
Hello? Good evening, we'll start that again. The national debt is how much we borrow to put the debt on the rise. Can't get away from that, so we will say it. The deficit is the comparison of the debt compared to the GDP as the economy grows. The economy has been growing, and therefore the deficit has been falling. So we've been doing well in the moment alongside the Conservatives. The Liberal Democrats have been increasing the GDP, kick-starting the economy, getting the recovery going, which is very important for everybody. In terms of addressing the major economic issues that were raised in the question, more jobs, more apprenticeships. We've been doing a lot of that in government. Unemployment is at record low levels over this parliament. We had some excellent figures released this week. We've introduced and created in the region of 2 million apprenticeships over the parliament. Over the course of this parliament, we've been doing some great stuff with the Liberal Democrats. That's the Liberal Democrats, and we can do more, and we'd like to continue the work that we do.
Thank you very much.
The debt. It's net on money. Net on money. Whereas the deficit is the gap between what government spends and what government takes in. Now, the deficit's been high for the past several years. Essentially, tax revenues are tracked after the recession, and they haven't been put at all. Yes, the deficit's come down, but there's still a lot more to do, and the major way to get it done is actually getting the economy running again. You can't just cut our way out of it. Increasing productivity is going to be a key part of this, because our problem at the moment is that we are a low-skilled, low-pay economy, which is good for society and everything. We're not going to be able to compete with the likes of Bangladesh and cost. So, what we need to do is to redirect our economy. Rather than an economy where you make money by selling off the company, we need an economy where you make money by investing in a company, investing in a workforce, investing in technology, and producing great British companies that we can be proud of, rather than what we've been doing for the past 30 years, which is selling a lot of great British companies.
Thank you very much.
Is it possible for the speakers to stand up? Because not only can we not hear, we know when they're speaking.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Not really.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
is, so if I use an analogy to say, if your household income is £2,000 a month, and your credit card bills are £2,500 a month, and your living costs, then quite clearly you have a problem. And that's what this government has. They have a problem of there isn't enough money coming in to service the debt. So that's the first thing that needs to be addressed. And of course, it's all very well, back to the credit card analogy, perhaps you can rejig your credit cards or remortgage to reduce your monthly payment, but you still owe the same amount of money, and that's your deficit. So that is your overall debt. So you can reduce the deficit, which is what the Conservative and Liberal coalition haven't really tried to achieve, but failed to achieve this Parliament, but overall the debt has risen to a ridiculous level. You ask about productivity. Every penny that a government chooses to spend begins in the private sector. And in this country, we have a great history of actually being able to innovate and send our skills across the world and be innovative and imaginative about what we produce. And therefore, I would say what we stand for is to release the burden of red tape, particularly on small businesses, to reduce business rates, particularly on small businesses, and to ensure that small businesses are paid on time by larger organisations who deprive small businesses of the capital they need to expand and to grow. These seem like common sense policies, but they don't seem to be applied these days. We need to get back to basics in this country, because the British people are innovative people. The British people are actually masters of their own destiny most of the time, and that's what I would say will get this economy going.
So the deficit today stands at about £90 billion. So, and then, for normal people, for you, that's a lot of money. But for governments, that's actually a very small amount. And the Greens want to close that deficit by not bashing for those who are on the minimum wage, those who have come to this country to work for because of the better opportunity that offers here, but instead to tackle big business that avoids billions, hundreds of billions in pounds in tax. It doesn't matter which statistic you look at. If you look at the government register, it's 40 billion, half the deficit. If you look at the World Bank standards on this, it's 80 billion. If you look at the tax justice network standards that work closely with the Green Party to get the information it needs to make an accurate assessment, it's £130 billion. So that's the deficit and spare change. So the Greens do not believe we have a deficit, we have a debt crisis, we have an unpaid taxes crisis. And that's true across the entire European Union. That one thing unites Greens in the UK, in Europe, around the world, is the belief that austerity is a lie. The cuts agenda that has been pushed in the UK and in Europe is a lie. What we need to do is tackle the endemic levels of tax abuse in our country and around the world, and we do that best in the European Union. We do that best by not sacking tax assessors, tax collectors. We do that best by actually hiring them, which has been cut, and they've been cutting half of this government. We do that best by working together, not bashing those people who want to work and live and thrive in this country. We do that by tackling those who want to show their responsibilities to this country, to the people who live in this country. And we do that best by we do that. Thank you.
Well, good evening, and thank you for this opportunity for all of us. Very well organised, and I'm thankful to see so many people in the church this evening. To answer the question directly, the deficit is the difference between what the government spends and what it collects in taxes. And when we took over in 2010, the government had to borrow £1 in every £4 it was spending. You imagine trying to run your household like that. I hear the Green candidate saying that 90 billion is not a lot of money. I think it is, because every billion that we borrow, I look at the, dare I say, the older faces among some of the audience here. It won't be us older people that have to pay this off, it will be our children that have to pay it off. And the reason we have to get the deficit down is because we are simply piling up debt which will have to be paid off by our children and our children's children, and I don't think that's acceptable. And There isn't a magic wand to wave that somehow it can all be collected in extra taxes. Yes, we can collect some extra taxes, but if I may say so, the real question, the $7 billion question is the most important part of it. The productivity gains we've made over the last 5 years are not nearly enough. Productivity is about output per man hour, person hour. And we're not increasing our productivity fast enough in this country. And the way to increase productivity is not by spending more government money. We have to upskill the workforce, we have to make sure that investment goes into infrastructure, like improving the A12, the A120, like improving the railways. We have to invest we have to make the climate for investment in our country. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. We have created 2 million jobs over the last 5 years, and that shows that the productivity is improving in the longer term.
Thank you very much.
Some people say that the living wage is too low. Is this right? And how do you improve it to, say, more than £10 an hour? How would you improve the funding for skills training in this area, given prospective cuts in funding for organisations such as the Colchester Institute?
Thank you very much. Edward.
I think the purpose of the living wage is essentially because the minimum wage is too low. We live in a country in which the minimum needs to be paid is not actually enough to live on. So yes, the minimum wage should rise to the level of the living wage. The Labour Party is promising that by 2019 we'll raise it to at least £8 an hour, and if the economy will bear it, we'll raise it on that, because everybody deserves to be paid enough to live on. And unfortunately, yes, a lot of jobs have been created in recent years, but far too many of these are low paid and low skilled. 50% of jobs created since 2010 have been in low wage industries. So, in this respect, skills training is extremely important, particularly Harwich. Let's face it, if we're going to bring jobs in this town, they're not going to come here for our wonderful infrastructure connections, given the current state of the A120. What they're going to come here for is a highly skilled workforce. So yes, we need to be investing vastly more in training our workforce along the lines of the Germans do with their economy. Which is why Labour are going to guarantee an apprenticeship for every school leaver who gets the minimum grades. Because we cannot live in a low-skilled country. It will not work. We have to upskill fast.
My grandfather left South Wales in the early part of last century because of the Depression. He took a job among the Docklands, and his work of pay would give him standing on the dockside. And I remember seeing him and saying, what happened to you, not today, not you. And he'd go home some days without work. He still had a family and 5 children to school. What is the difference between having a 0 hours contract today today, when the young person usually gets a text late at night saying, no work tomorrow. There is no difference. Is that we come to in our society when we don't value ordinary working people? The average worker's wage in this country has declined in real terms over the last 15 years. Yes, gentlemen, you can all exclude you on this one, but yes, gentlemen, you can all take up part of the blame for that. Including you from the Labour Party. The average working man's wage has fallen, and that's fallen for a couple of reasons. Uncontrolled immigration has given us a supply of workers who are prepared to work on minimum wage or just above. Exploited multinationals who come into the country and then they employ people on a minimum wage. A living wage is a decent entitlement that most people should aspire to and deserve. On my own council that I sit on, I was happy to support the Labour Party in proposing that. Unfortunately, the Conservatives voted it down. In our local authority, we've only effective cleaning staff and a few individuals. How petty and mean is that? The nasty party rings true in respect to that, I'm sorry to say, Bernard. And today, the average working man in this country deserves more. They deserve more than what has been given to them over the last 10, 15, 20 years. The working man and woman is the backbone of this country. It's about time politicians stood up for them.
Yeah, so the £10 figure on this question is the Green Party's committed to introducing the £10 minimum wage by 2020. But what it doesn't say is that if the win the election for it, we can, force Labour to do it, then we will be introducing the living wage, the minimum wage, as the first priority, which is £7.85 an hour. So if we look at the minimum wage now, it's £1.35 an hour increase straight away. But it's a concern for me that not even Labour can go that far into supporting a living wage now, but instead will pay what would be living wage now in 10 to 5 years' time. To address the concerns about funding, so again, we would say there is no problem about how we're going to fund this. We have to make sure we're collecting our taxes. We also want to introduce a 2% wealth tax on assets over 3 million. Which would raise a further £30 billion more to spend on the money on. And even by our estimates, that tax increase in the region of £130 billion. Our manifesto only expects us to claim £30 billion of that in this month, So things like wealth tax and other things will fill that gap. So we want to make sure that we are paying a living wage. We want to make sure that we are properly funding so we have the skills we need for the future. And that doesn't mean immigration is incurred. It doesn't mean
I know that in general elections, politicians tend to go around making promises, but forgive me if, as a politician, I say beware politicians making promises. I'd love to stand here and say I'm going to put wages up, and you just about heard that from the other panelists. Governments don't create the wealth, it's people and businesses that create the wealth. We've got to get a competitive economy to get the wages going up. And you've got to control government spending and government borrowing, otherwise the government eats all the wealth. And that was what was happening when we got in. By getting the deficit under control, by controlling the growth of the debt, and eventually getting to a point where we can start to get the debt down from about 2018, 2019, that is the way we're going to get living standards to rise in this country. And I also living wages to that, but just to correct one misapprehension. It is in fact the Tendring District Council under the Conservatives that have decided to pay the minimum wage in the council should be the living wage, that's above the national minimum wage, to at least every low-paid worker in the Tendring District Council. And it's the Conservatives that did that because we feel it's right. And the Chief Executive of the Council actually cut his salary to help pay for it. Those are the values which I think the Conservative administration should demonstrate. That's what we've actually done in this district, which is why you should vote Conservative in the Tendring District Council elections.
Thank you. I just wanted to correct something that Bernard's just said there. The executive attendant Bishop Council did not take a cut in salary. He offered not to take a bonus salary with any more. I am considering following costs of our councils to lead in paying the living wage for their staff, which is something that we do on costs of our council. I am a cost of our council. We're also working very hard to assure our partners and our suppliers are working paying the living wage for their staff as well, because it is very important. The question asks, is the living wage too low? I think the minimum wage is too low. I think it's important that we do try to pay the living wage, and as I say, we are doing it ourselves. We are putting our money into it, we are our mouths on. So I think it's very important that we do that. I'm disappointed, I'm not surprised to hear Mark talk about immigration when the question doesn't really call for it. It appears that UKIP do take any opportunity that they can to blame foreigners on their the implication being, of course, foreigners are not bad and we should not see them in this country. I think it's actually quite a dangerous implication. We do need to improve skills training in the area, which is the second part of the question. Skills training to people who aren't necessarily academically minded. I was talking to a resident the other day who said that their son, aged 20, they feel that he matured a bit later than son. His examples weren't very good, but actually now he feels mature enough to go into some sort of vocational training, but unfortunately he's stuck working at a coffee shop, can't afford a house, can't afford his rent, can't afford a car, and doesn't really have much ambition or prospects, and it's absolutely terrible. That's the situation. What the Liberal Democrats are doing is we are offering apprenticeships. We are offering apprenticeships, we've already mentioned that, and they will obviously be ruled out to those who are not just leaving school immediately, but those who need it later on in life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for allowing me to respond. It's very true to the Liberal candidate to suddenly turn to immigration. I didn't raise immigration. What I said was, wages is may I respond for your trouble, please. What we've seen in this country is wages driven low. You can't have 300 million people arriving in the UK each year who tend to be low wage earners coming to the country and then not expect manual labour to be impressed. It's a basic economic fact. No one is against people coming to the UK. What we want is a points-based system that they have in other countries, so skill sets can be matched to the available jobs. That's a basic economic fact. And that's why companies like Tesco's and Amazon and Starbucks are quite happy to employ people on the minimum wage, not the other more wages we would like to see, living wage and so on. That's a basic fact. So please, keep the claim simple and don't start saying, I'm against foreigners. We withdraw that statement, I never start against foreigners.
I think we've heard that. Thank you.
So it's not correct, it's not 300 million, which would be 5 times what the UK, 300 million. But what he said was true if you don't believe in the power of the state to intervene in economics. So if we did have, a thing like the minimum wage, then that's true. But what we need to do is legislate to say the minimum wage should be at the living wage, so that we're actually paying everyone what they need to be earning. The argument is sound in the abstract economics that we learn at university, but if you apply things like minimum wage, you apply minimum wage projects.
Right, moving on to question number 3, please.
Climate change affects everyone, and coastal communities in particular. What policy decisions would you take to improve the situation?
Mark, please.
What I would like to see is, in the UK, all energy options explored. If you ask me specifically about coastal communities and how they're affected, I think they're affected in a number of ways. There's obvious ones such as coastal erosion, which particularly affect parts of Woodford, perhaps also parts of Essex. But when putting these things in to keep them up in the air, the amount of concrete that's embedded into the seabed has had an enormous effect on the sea line. No one talks about that when they start talking about climate change or how we've seen these wind surveys going around, and people say, isn't that wonderful? But of course, the impact on the actual resource of our seabed is quite a problem. So what I would like to see is us to explore all energies in this country. We follow our international obligations, but remember, the UK is a small player when we're looking in a global situation in countries like China. There's not a lot that we can do. We actually have very good practices in this country, and we do our bit. We need to encourage good behaviour on a global scale.
Thank you very much.
The UK actually has a lot of potential for renewable energy. So the North Sea, in particular, has the power to potentially power the entire UK at its present consumption levels. What the reason to see is to make sure that we cap, or we make sure we do not exceed 2 degrees of global warming to prevent catastrophic climate change. We want to reduce energy consumption, reduce waste in a way that benefits normal people. So that means making sure every home is properly insulated, so that you're not wasting money heating your home throughout the year. I'm from Colchester, so the University of Essex in Colchester. It's incredible how many homes I still see walking around town with single pane windows. So to make sure that every home is double glazed, every home is properly insulated, will be a big way in which we can help your pockets and help the environment in reducing energy consumption. I'm from the southwest of Bristol, and there's a lot of problems with flooding in the southwest as well. So we want to make sure that we don't build homes on floodplains. So we need those as natural bases to take flood water when we have extreme rain. We don't have homes built on them. We want to make sure that we have proper coastal defences that have been cut in this government again, to make sure that those communities that are vulnerable are protected. We want to, particularly looking at, again, Norfolk, which has a lot of is very amenable to coastal erosion, that we make proper plans to protect the communities and let nature explore some areas that we can let go. So we don't have enough protection. The UK's map will change gradually. Norfolk is losing a metre of coastline every year. So we want to make sure we're protecting communities, improving the pockets of communities, and letting nature explore as we have to, and mitigating the effects of climate change.
Well, climate change does affect everyone, and it's going to affect everyone across the planet. Part of the response is to try and reduce the rate of climate change, the rate of global warming, by reducing our carbon emissions. And all the major political parties are committed to that. We've signed up to all the international conventions. And in fact, the United Kingdom is now reducing its carbon emissions. There are going to be big changes that really help. The move to hybrid cars, electric cars, that will be massive. The revolution in energy storage, ammonia batteries, the ability to be able to store electricity will mean we can have a much more efficient generating system and reduce the amount of coal we burn in our power stations. I don't think we should rely on one source of electricity generation like wind turbines, because, funny enough, sometimes the wind doesn't blow. You do need a variety of different systems. And particularly this affects coastal communities. Our sea level here in Harwich is rising at about 4 millimetres per year. That is 2 millimetres per year because the land mass is sinking, and 2 millimetres per year because the sea level is actually, on average, rising by that amount. Now, we can cope with that, but we need to invest in flood defences. We need to be prepared to raise the level of our seawalls, strengthen our seawalls. We don't want another situation like we had just a few months ago, where the water nearly came over the seawall again, back to 1953. We should be ready for that. We've got to invest in our seawalls, and I campaign ceaselessly to make sure our flood defences are effective in this constituency.
Thank you.
The climate change is a significant issue for us. The Liberal Democrats consider it so significant that we put put on the front page of our manifesto. We have 5 green laws that we're proposing to introduce. The Nature Act, the Resource Efficiency and Zero Waste Britain Act, the Zero Carbon Britain Act, and the Green Buildings Act and the Green Transport Act. Again, I had to write them all down. I can't remember every single word of the 158 pages of the manifesto. But it's very, very important. There are a few things we put on the front of our manifesto, and the 5 green laws are incredibly important. We are not far away from the Greens and our colleagues over there. We believe it's incredibly important, and we are doing a lot. Renewable energy is obviously incredibly important. I do actually agree with Bernard when he says that we need to use varying different methods of energy, not just wind farms. I think that we need to look at all sorts of things we can do. Solar power in particular needs to be something that we need to invest in. I think the subsidies that have been posted in solar energy recently are a bad idea. I think they should be reinvested in. Thank you very much.
Yes, and North Essex is by and large pretty flat, so we are the top, and you can't come in and walk around the world without seeing about where here with the line from 19, where the time mark was in 1993. So it really is an urgent threat. We need to act on it. We're starting to take action but this needs to be happening worldwide. So we need to get involved with the European Union partners to make sure that they cut down on things. We need to be involved with the developing nations, particularly in Asia, to make sure that as they industrialise in much lower carbon ways, in much lower carbon methods than the ones we use. And before, we need to consider how we can actually benefit from this step change. We can be selling clean tech to India and China. In Harwich itself, BA supports a lot of local jobs, and there is more we can do. We shouldn't just be doing jobs maintaining wind farms. My neighbours across the North Sea, particularly in North Germany, make immense amounts of money that are being constructed with turbines. And that's a market that we need to be making it. We have the skill set here, and we need to building upon that. To make sure that in this great new economy, we're reaping the benefits of it.
Okay. Can I just check that we're using 2 sound systems here today? Can you hear the questions okay? Yes. I can't hear you. We move on to a question about health service. Question number 4, please. We say quite slowly.
How would you fund and improve health service locally so it better serves the people who live here? Is privatisation the answer? How would you provide more staff?
Privatisation is not the answer. The efficiency settings that we'll bring up in a minute that the government has pursued have been the undermining and the recategorisation of the staff that are employed by NHS. How do we provide more staff? You hear me now? Yes, we're going to be providing, we need to provide more staff. We also make sure we're providing staff who can do their job. So that means when we hire nurses that you know standard, they are actually hired as nurses and not healthcare professionals. I'm a kidney transplant patient, so I've spent a lot of time in hospitals and whatever else works. And I was at Colchester General Hospital last summer. On the ward, there were only 2 nurses and 4 healthcare professionals. So those who do the jobs of nurses, dispensing drugs, we have 2 of them. And so, although this is an efficiency saving according to the services in the government, It's not actually saving money because we have people on the board who can't do the work they need to be doing. In terms of bringing services back to control and help local communities, Greece will control a lot more power to you, giving you a lot more control, a lot more power in your local community to how your NHS is run. We want to put more money into the local services so that you don't need to go to A&E, so you don't have to go to a hospital. For instance, again, our university healthcare centre was threatened with closure because of the efficiency savings and budget cuts that were made under this government. And if we had closed the health service for our university, then every student would have to make a decision, am I sick enough to go to the hospital or should I wait and see what happens? So we don't want that to be happening. We want to make sure that people feel confident, feel safe, go to their GP, say, I've got a sniffle, could it be worse, I've got some other ailment, I want to get a check, I don't want to wait to get sicker and then go to A&E and then get admitted and whatever else. So we want to make sure that local communities have local control of their services. We want to eventually hold the whole amount of money in the universities, which is what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
Well, again, it's a race of promises. I'll lose. But don't look at the crystal ball, look at the book. We've increased the spending on the health service for every year that we've been in office. There's only one party in this country that's ever actually cut the health service, and that was the Labour Party under the Labour government in the 1970s. And it's only the Labour Party that's cutting the health service in Wales, where they're in power, and not in power, and so they haven't cut the health service here. Efficiency is important because lots of organisations, private and public, make efficiencies every year. The health service isn't different. The point is that we invest in the frontline staff. How do we get more staff? We've got more staff. More staff being added to the health service every year. More doctors, more nurses, more midwives, and we'll carry on growing the health service. Well, you mentioned privatisation. It was the last Labour government that privately financed the private hospital, so that the rent we pay on private, we have to pay a rent on the hospital that goes to the private sector every year, a very rich, lucrative private sector deal that really wasn't very good value for money. I've been campaigning to make sure we get much better value for money out of that facility, getting more services delivered from the private hospital, keeping the facilities that we've got there and stopping the very closed. And as for the University Medical Service, I went to see the Royal Medical Practice and got together with NHS England, and we saved your service from an equalisation formula that was being imposed, which didn't recognise the special position of universities, because that's the sort of thing an MP does.
Hopefully you can hear me. I don't think it's problems with the mics. Can you hear me okay? Those Democrats are proposing to increase funding by £8 million. That's the amount of money that NHS England says they need. So we found it in the budget. They're the only party to fully cost it throughout our manifesto. That's one thing we can do to improve the funding of the NHS. I do not agree that privatisation is the answer. I do not agree with any further privatisation. It should be free at the point of use. There is a significant problem locally with Colchester Hospital, for example, has 150 nursing vacancies at the moment. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of the impact that has on the services that they are able to provide. I met with the chief executive of the hospital this week who showed me that they've sent out job offers to many people across Europe and across the world. And hopefully those job offers will be accepted and we can have a fully staffed hospital again. It is what we need. It is absolutely what we need in this local area. There's another thing that I'd like to do in terms of local politics as well, is that we need to get the CCGs, the clinical commissioning groups who've taken over from the PCT trusts, to get involved in the planning applications in the town. We need to be able to assess the demand and the ability to supply the medical services. At present, if there is a big housing application, say 1,600 new homes, around about 3,000 new people, there is no input from the NHS or from the CCGs into whether a new GP surgery, or whether there's a new hospital is required, or whether new doctors, or whether there's more funding from the developers. And that must change. That's something I will take very seriously and look to try to improve.
very interested here, though, to say wasn't going to make any promises on the NHS, because certainly this doesn't seem to be the sort of party taking naturally. Fresh off, there will be no drop-down reorganisation of the NHS. They're now going for, there will be 8 billion spent on the NHS, but we're not going to turn the power. So thank you for not following the leadership and taking it more on. I think the first thing you said is that no, prioritisation is not the answer. There may be times when outsiders can do jobs the NHS can't do. I think PFI was actually a case of that. Yes, we paid the presenter, but Harwich got a new hospital. So Labour are certainly back in the fight to keep services there. And I'm not going to apologise for there being NHS services where they need. There's going to be more investment from the government. Now, Labour is saying that we can't necessarily promise 8 billion because we have to be responsible. We have to work out where the money is coming from. But we have identified 2.5 billion for taxing bank bonuses, taxing cigarette manufacturers who are responsible for the strain on the NHS, and we will use that to train 20,000 more nurses and 8,000 more doctors because the NHS is going to need them. There's times when the hospital has been having a vacancy rate above 20%, and that's not going to be training.
Very kindly pointing out that of course we're going to fund the 2020 health plan with the extra 8 billion that the health service needs, because that's what we do, we fund the health service. I could ask you, it would be a bit unfair to ask you, but why did the Labour Party go for this very high cost private finance initiative for private hospital? And did you know that the rent that is paid on the private hospital is actually subsidising the primary care centre in Colchester? And finally, it was built with 2 operating theatres that have never been used. This is and they haven't thought about why they were building these operating theatres. I'm afraid this is one good example of efficient spending.
Thank you very much.
I proposed I non-politics, so I made a pledge to my friends here this evening that I wasn't going to get negative in criticising my opponents. But I can't let you off the hook further. The reorganisation of the National Health Service undertaken by Andrew Dansley has destroyed the morale of the NHS, and it will take some time to recover. So I'm afraid you've got blood on your hands in respect of that. In respect of the question that was asked, no, generally speaking, the privatisation of the NHS, we should learn from the mistakes of the last Labour government, which indeed I think that the Labour Party today are learning from those mistakes by not being so keen to embrace it. Telling how we can improve things locally, there are 5 key facts in it. I think. Can you do it quickly? Yeah. I think. Yes. Okay. The 5 points I would make, which I think, first of all, we should integrate NHS and social care into one package. Those 2 agencies should work together. Secondly, I believe that, I think we should abolish the 15-minute windows that you're supposed to be seeing in. Not every problem can be resolved in that amount of time. It's different needs for different people. Thirdly, I think we should end health tourism. UKIP are committed to an extra 1.5 billion for dementia and mental health care treatments. And finally, and it's fully costed, so unlike other parties, our manifesto has been fully costed independently, we are committing 12 billion to the NHS by 2020.
How much should this country give in foreign aid?
Well, I voted for 0.7% of GDP because we've always had a very high quality aid program from this country. It does our country good to help the poorest nations in the world become better off, to develop their economies, to become self-supporting countries. It does good to immunise. For example, over the past 5 years, some 1.3 million children vaccinated against deadly diseases, that we put 10 million children in some of the poorest countries into education. Education and the empowerment of women and girls in developing countries is the way to take these countries out of poverty. That's not to minimise the importance of trade. Trade is what lifts billions of people out of poverty over decades. But our aid programme is something we should be proud of, and we should be prepared to pay the very small amount, 1.6% of government spending, that goes in aid in order to be able to afford that. The aid programme is pushing 30 billion at the moment. I think we can spend some of it better. I think we should spend it on programmes that we spend, not through the UN and the EU. And if necessary, we should spend some of it through the MOD, because the MOD does some very, very important aid work around the world, which many of the aid agencies will not recognise as aid, but it's certainly very, very good work. Our armed servicemen and women are fantastic people, and they do fantastic things. Ebola, for example, we've led the big campaign against Ebola in Africa, and the armed forces have been absolutely instrumental in that. We should be prepared to spend some of our aid money where the armed forces are being used for projects like that. We should spend some of that money on defence. But it's something we should be proud of, and I am proud of, so long as it is properly spent.
I find myself in a bit of an uncomfortable situation. I agree with virtually everything the minister said. I think we should be proud of our money going to those who need it most. I think we should be proud of what we're doing in educating women in parts of the world who don't get that sort of opportunity. We should be proud of our money going to people who are fighting disease, Ebola was mentioned by earlier. I can't really add to that. I just think that we're doing some good stuff, and we should continue to do the good stuff that we have been doing.
We should spend as much as we need to. I have absolutely no problem with 0.7% GDP level, because I think we do need to spend that much. And yes, we're achieving fantastic things with that. But it's not that it's not just a simple humanitarian action. Aid spending is good at our country to succeed it. It's also good for us. By supporting education in the developing world, we are helping children there achieve their potential. We are helping them. Make their own countries better off, so they need less aid in the future, and so that they are more valuable trading partners for us. So I absolutely agree with everything we're spending for immunisation, and we should be doing that regardless of whether or not it benefits us, because it would be the right thing to do. But it benefits us too. We should be very proud of it.
The British people are among the most generous in the world. We're only going to look at things like comic relief and children in need to see that. When you look at in the States, people like Bill Gates, I truly respect that man, what him and his wife Browne have done for World Aid. He's given his entire fortune to a trust fund to actually fund across the world projects. That is what true aid is about. It's not for governments to be the only distributor of aid in the world. If you want me to put pound notes on it, we will continue to fund 4 billion of aid, which is at 0.2% of GDP, which is the same as the USA gives. It's the same as France and it's the same as Spain and Italy give combined. Sadly, we can't be there for the whole of the world. We We need to fix our own group first. We need to give to our own people first. And when there's times of crisis, we are there to assist. But that is what I believe, and you may disagree with me, but I think there's a lot of things closer to home that we need to deal with first.
So unlike the Labour Party manifesto said, we want to take foreign aid further and pledge to commit to 1% of GDP of spending on foreign aid spending, around 20 billion. So again, foreign aid, we will talk about the virtues of foreign aid. So I will be cynic and tell you why foreign aid also benefits us as well, to hand it to the voters and say, if by putting money into those countries that are struggling, then we make a safer and secure environment for them to live their lives in those countries. And then for those of us, or those of you who are concerned about immigration, that means there's less people that need to come or want to come to the UK for a better life. Because that's what drives immigration. The UK is a wealthy, prosperous country where I can get a job and I can make my life better. So by spending money on foreign aid and by increasing it to 1% of GDP, so around 20 billion, we can make sure that the lives of people living in the developing world are safer, are secure, and are protected, and that we value human lives in doing that. And then for those of you who consider immigration a problem, then by pledging to increase foreign aid, then we will also potentially tackle immigration.
Can we have question 6, please?
The Churches Together group is a driving force in the local food bank. What would you offer in a positive way for people who are on or below the poverty line, and why should they vote for you?
The rise of food banks in this country is, I'm very sad to say, it is a bit of an embarrassment to our country and a bit of an embarrassment to the government which the Liberal Democrats have been a part of. It's a significant difficulty. What we try to do with the Liberal Democrats, we have increased the personal allowances for those on lower income wages so that we can take many people out of tax and they don't pay tax. We went from 10,000 to 11,600. We are proposing to raise that to 12,500. The Conservatives and David Cameron in particular said it couldn't be done, but of course we then persuaded them that we could actually do that. It's one of the things that I suppose we were able to persuade the government to do. It's an excellent thing that we should be doing. We're also, again, we talk a lot about ours, and I like to talk about jobs and apprenticeships. That's something that we can do to help people away from poverty and away from their poor circumstances and help them earning or learning and get them contributing and helping themselves.
Thank you.
I'd like to praise the work of the local food bank, but I wish God we didn't need one. I mean, that is a sign of a failing on part of our society. And unfortunately, it has got much worse in recent years. And there are two things that many churches have suggested are connected. One of them is the benefits being sanctioned or delayed, and Labour will ban any sanctions, any target sanctions, because benefits advisors, their role should not be to drive people independent. And the other one is bedroom tax, which doesn't work. It's inhuman, it's savage, it's pointless, and Labour will abolish that. Beyond that, a positive vision going forward. We'll raise minimum wage so that people have enough money to support themselves. We'll cut childcare costs. So people aren't choosing between sending their I'm trying to decide what to work. We will cut in which dependence on food banks is not normal. It should not be.
Thank you very much.
History will not judge this coalition kindly on the issue of food banks. The fact that here we are in the 21st century and we're talking about food banks in Britain is completely wrong. We missed something somewhere. And I'm afraid there is a mismatch. Let me give you an example. On Thursday this week, 3 big cases of salt were landed in Harwich and they were ordered to be thrown back into the sea because the quota had been exceeded. How perverse is that? When you have people who could have done with that fish, that is not a Christian thing to do. That is absurd. That is just stupid. And that is part of the world that we live in presently. You ask me for practical solutions, the things that my party committed to improve the lives of people on the poverty line. We will get the ATOS assessments. We will give that back to the GPs to decide when you're fit for work. Not for some bureaucrats to decide at the end of the telephone. The GP decides. We will end welfare tourism. We will scrap the bedroom tax. And we will certainly have no tax on anyone who's on the minimum wage. I hope that's enough for you to show that you can care about ordinary people in this country.
So the Greens would say that we need to, as well as supporting obviously the living wage, which will make sure that we have more stable income in our pockets, and those who are, when they get a job, need to not living in poverty. So for instance, the TUC, Trade Union Conference, says that there are 5 million people who work in poverty, so who are the working poor. So the Greens, so by doing that, we remove that automatically. Another 9 million people live in fuel poverty, which means they spend 20% of their household income on heating their home. So by proper insulation and by introducing microgeneration grants or microgeneration in solar panels on our homes, we can give fuel energy independence to those people who need it most. We want to also also by raising how much people have in their pockets, we also want to reduce how much we should be spending on basic stuff. And that's a key thing that Greens will do across the board. So whether that's and then removing profit motives from things like the health service, transport, water, energy, education, so that we reduce government spending on those services and your spending on those services, so that the government can put the money where it needs to be putting it into providing job education, so that we can give paths out of poverty to people. We can provide the services people need. We can make benefits universal, so there's no need for you to be running to the job centre to make sure you get your interview, so you don't get sanctions, so ending sanctions, making sure that you as a person are valued, given the money you need until you have found a job and you have found the money you need to become a job.
Thank you very much. Bernard.
Well, I would add our thanks to the churches together in Harwich, bringing the Harwich Food Bank to life. And of course, we wish we lived in a society where food banks were not necessary. But food banks weren't invented under this coalition government. They started many, many years ago. And in fact, they're an international phenomenon. They're something that's happening in a lot of developed societies. And I think it tells you one thing, that you can't solve everyone's problems by simply the government handing out a cheque. A lot of the people that come to food banks have very much more complex needs. They can't cope. They can't cope with the sanctions put on them for not turning up for the job interviews and the job coaching at the job centre. That there are people often with mental health problems or family breakdown problems or physical problems. We need to provide these people with much more human support, which is what food banks do. But we also need to adapt the model. There is a new movement of community shops which are involved in engaging people who come to food banks in helping distribute and even sell some of the food they raise, even cook some of the food. There's a brilliant recycle project in Clacton where people, instead of coming to a food bank, come in and help cook a meal and then eat a meal together and interact. It's a social interaction But I think what the churches together all over the country have done with food banks. And it's that human face of care that we need to develop in our society as much as the funding and the actual policy. Because we're a wealthy country. Even people on benefit, most people on benefit don't go to food banks. The people who go to food banks have special support, special care, special love. And that's what we've got to develop and enhance in this country.
Thank you. Mr. Brady,
Thank you. I couldn't let Mark's comment about health tourism pass, I'm afraid. You got a bit upset earlier when I mentioned or didn't criticise the fact that you appear to be blaming foreigners for everything, but you raised it when we were talking about living wage. You raised it when we were talking about health tourism. That's what you said. You said benefit tourism. Is there anything that you don't blame that foreigners?
Dominic, it doesn't seem to be me who has the problem. You're the one who keeps raising this. And I say all about you because I'm here.
Moving on to question number 7, please.
This constituency has contrasting areas of economic poverty and prosperity. What would you do for the area, for example in housing, roads, public transport or employment opportunities?
Thank you very much. Edward.
Okay, well, the first thing we can say is this area definitely needs more affordable housing. In the Kensington Council area, the rate of the average wage to average house prices is, I think, about average house prices are about 10 or 11 times average wages, which is put it clearly not safe. So we're going to have to build a much higher portion of affordable housing in the future. Turning off roads, with all the roads project to see. There is investment in the roads already, but much more is needed. We need the A120 upgraded, not least because the roads are not in the Harwich area. But we also need the roads we have properly maintained. The main roads are maintained, but head off any main road. You will find potholes, and you will report them to the county council, and they will say, well, it's unsightly, it's not a real problem, even though it's about 5 inches deep, and you will keep forming it, and it's only about 3 months down the line, they might have to get fixed. But I'm going to put the actual fix, might fall off again in a couple of months. So we actually need to prioritise fixing the problems we have, and making sure the roads we have are properly maintained. In terms of public transport, we have a reasonably good rail network. It's like reasonably well. The prices are too high, and it's uncountable. Privatisation is an experiment that hasn't been succeeded. So, we're going to ensure that when franchises expire in the future, public sector bidders will bid, and they're going to have to private ones that we rent private hands, and then on buses, that should be regulation didn't work, we will reverse that.
Thank you very much.
I'll answer the question as it's asked, what can we do to improve housing? First of all, we should actually spend time consolidating and not have any more housing development on massive scales. So just blanket planning permission for more housing in this part of Essex, no. We need to see housing perhaps on brownfield sites first of all to regenerate areas close to existing communities. Secondly, roads, I think we've probably all agreed on the platform, the A120 should be upgraded. We need in terms of public transport, I'm a big fan of railways, and I must say that I do think that the waste of money on HS2 could be better spent by improving our rail extending station platforms so that those carriages can be accommodated, and improving the commuters' journey to work, as well as ensuring that local journeys are also more desirable and looking at fares are charged. In terms of employment opportunities, you tend to find if you start getting your infrastructure right, the jobs come. And if you want to find all the things, talk about what we can do in Harwich, we live in a beautiful community here, a historic community, and I really think that cruise ships coming here on a greater scale would really enhance our local economy. Because again, if you get those cruise ships arriving with 700 people getting off and enjoying the community, then the coffee shops and wine bars and restaurants and other tourist effects companies, not just them, it's the spin-offs out of the economy that happen. That is practical help, and that's what we need here. They used to have something called enterprise investment zones, and they are the sort of thing that the government should be looking at, is the direct action where it is needed, and that is something that I would fully support.
So the one that, so obviously I'm pretty sure the Green Party policy to go 500,000 new votes probably infamous now and actually benefits you. So that would be one of the major things that we want to do to make sure that the local communities that we deal with the problems of housing. We will be building on Browne side and be cutting the cost of VAT on redeveloping households by half. We will also make sure those, most importantly, that they're social homes, they don't add to the housing bubble that just forces housing across that. We'll make sure that they're socially owned, publicly owned homes, council homes that people can use as a home, and it's not going to add to the heat of the housing market. We want to bring the rail industry en masse into competition rather than bidding for contracts, which say we're going to have them, and we're going to make the rail service a nationally integrated service. We want to scrap HS2, we want to put that money into building the regional connectivity of our rail service, so you can get to Harwich Town, to Colchester Town, and I'm changing. We want to make sure that employment opportunities. We want to encourage more people that are commuting to London every day to stay in Harwich, to stay in Colchester, to stay in Manchester. So that means we need to be developing powers to our local councils to build the infrastructure and the business that we need, but then we don't have to spend 3 hours a day commuting to and back to London. The skills are here, we stay here, and we do that by supporting small businesses, supporting interconnectivity of our local region, and we do that by improving the railways to London and to our region.
Thank you very much.
It is absolutely true that there are startling variations in income and prosperity between very areas that are very close to each other in this area, in this town, and it is something of great concern. But we can't really imagine one. There's no government solution that instantly solves this problem. The real long-term problem is the long-term prosperity of the country and a strong economy. And it is by getting people working age, giving them job opportunities and encouraging them back to work, which has done the most to relieve poverty in this area. There's been a big fall of unemployment, a big fall in youth unemployment and participation in the workforce, a big increase in the number of women working, and that is all to the good. On the infrastructure, I'm very glad to hear that the Labour Party now talking in favour of roads. In fact, in my manifesto, they're going to cut the roads programme. As they cut the roads programme when they got in the 1990s. The fact is, most people travel by car. Most journeys are by car. Most goods are transported by road. Roads are absolutely vital. Unless we invest in the roads, we won't get the prosperity. And as for enhancing job opportunities in this area, we've brought training jobs to Harwich. We've restored assisted area status, something we've lost under the last in this area. Assisted area status makes businesses that want to expand eligible for grant and loan support, and there are businesses now applying for and getting grants and loans to help them expand. And I think in a peripheral area like this, that is what we need. We need that structural help. And the energy, just one brief thing. Harwich has got so much going for it. Harwich is such a great place to live, a great place to work, fantastic primary schools, an improving secondary school. We should talk about Harwich. We shouldn't talk about the problems in Harwich, we should talk about the advantages and the good things about Harwich, the heritage of Harwich, the Mayflower project, the opportunities for Harwich. And then we've got to track the investment here. And there are some people in this town do nothing but generate bad headlines.
Thank you, sir.
And that does us no good at all.
Thank you. Dominic.
Thank you. In terms of housing, well, we need more homes, as everybody will agree. The population is rising, we are living longer, and the Local Council committed to building 800 new homes that we require. In Gloucester Borough Council, we are proud to have just opened the first council homes that have been built in many a year, and that will seek to be increased and improved going forward. In terms of the roads, I agree with my colleagues here, the M120 needs to be improved. It should be dual as far as we can. We need to make the port to the airport and the rest of the UK. It's a very, very important road. And I think there is cross-party support for that in terms of the M120 gateway. In terms of the potholes getting fixed, that is, I'm sure my colleagues will agree with me, the number one issue on the doorstep. On the doorstep. If there's anything that we can help you with, it's inevitably because a pothole needs to be fixed outside somebody's front door. I don't recognise Edward's example of 3 months getting fixed, though. 2 years, I think, is about the average versus Cavan County. In terms of railways, I'm not very happy with the franchise system for the railways. Many over around here have had their own way for the last 9, 10 years, however long it is. I've been calling for a recall clause to be placed within the franchises, so if they are poorly performing, we can take them back and re-franchise the railway, that part of the railway. At the moment, there's a monopoly with the railways, and there is an incentive for the companies to improve their services. There are many commuters into London in this area, in this constituency. They don't need me to remind them about the poor services that they are receiving, and it needs to improve, and the whole system needs to improve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we've been doing very well and covering a wide area of subjects. We're not able to cover subjects addressed by all the questions, but I'd like to move to one final question, and it's question number 9. Number 9, can you have that?
What do you consider to be the main advantages or disadvantages of being in the European Union?
Well,
I think we'll go very well getting to this point. So let me answer this question as I would say here, and I'll try and add a bit more to it. Someone said to me the other day, why does UKIP seem to do so well in our coastal communities? If you look at the level of UKIP support, starting at the Humber Estuary, all the way down the east coast, right the way down Yarmouth, Harwich, and then into the Thames Estuary out into Kent. Why is that? And I would say it's because people in those communities have been very adversely affected by our membership of the EU. If you think about fishing communities particularly, our fishing industry has been destroyed in this country. Talking to the Mersey fishermen on Friday this week, just to see how desperate those men are, identifies what is wrong with the EU. I believe, unlike the gentleman from the Labour Party and the Liberal Party, that we should have a referendum. Further's party says we should have a referendum, and then after Mr Cameron renegotiates, we go to stay in. But I don't subscribe to that. I trust the British people, which is more than these other people do. I'm a Democrat as well. If we vote to stay in, we make the best of it. But I will fight to stay out of the EU, because I think that we as a nation serve our interests better. The thing is, what is good about Europe is our trade with Europe. And we should separate trade and politics. Trade is a wonderful thing, and I'm sure the French will want to sell us champagne and cheese, and the Germans will sell us some very good cars, and we will continue to sell them our exports. That is what trade is about. It's nothing to do with a political union. And that should cease to be a union. Is one reason and one reason alone why I was appalled at what the Conservative Party did with their Liberal Democratic allies, which is the European arrest warrants. The fact that anyone in this room could be whipped off to any European country to stand trial under some most ridiculous accusation, even without any supporting evidence, that now exists. That is wrong. We have something in this country, Hans Corpus, you are innocent until you are proved guilty. But no longer. In Europe, they have a system of, if there's another, if there's even the most...
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I quite like the European Union. I think there are definitely problems with it. You know, there is a massive democratic deficit within the European Union, and that's what makes it so alien to most probably people in this room. There's no great accountability between what the European Parliament says it's going to do, what the European Council does, and your vote. So the Greens want a reform of Europe, not along the lines of David Cameron, but along the lines of improving democracy within the European Union. You know, giving the European Parliament, the only body you can vote for, the power to propose legislation, the power to make real change that you want to see happen. We do also support referendum. We want to make it clear that what the UK wants to be doing, are we staying in, are we going in, we need to make up our mind. Because the European Union is moving towards greater political union, and I personally don't have a problem with that, because Europe and Britain have a very similar history. We have a common history, we have a common politics, we have a common identity. You know, our history is defined by how we interacted with Europe, and we need to now say, okay, we're moving to a new chapter. It's not in my memory, it's probably just outside the living memory of people in this room. The Second World War was a war that was because of the lack of unity within Europe. And the European Union was given the Nobel Peace Prize 2 years ago because of the security, the peace it has brought about through bringing people together. People embrace the European cause. So what we need to do is decide we're going to stay in Europe. I want to referendum, I want to stay in, and I want to make sure the European Union has the powers it needs to do what it needs to do, and I want you to have the power to implement the European Union. So I think Europe is a good thing. We have a common history with Europe, we have a common political identity with Europe. Stay in.
We have two things about this debate. One is that anybody who is in favour of the European Union always wants to reform it, because there are lots of things wrong with it. And the other is that if they're really in favour of the European Union and can't contemplate leaving, then everything that's good that's happened in this country and in Europe is attributed to the European Union. And it stops everything bad that might happen. And of course, neither of these statements are true. We joined the European community, the European economic community, as it was in the 1970s, for trade. Because the world was a very different place from what it is now. We didn't have globalisation, we didn't have global free trade. Unless you were in a trade bloc, you couldn't trade anywhere. We were losing our Commonwealth and empire markets. We had to opt into a common market with our European partners. It was instead a common market with a veto. And over the years, we've lost our veto. We've lost control over our own laws. We've lost control over the regulation of our business. It's become extremely expensive. We give as much to the rich countries of the European Union as we're giving to the poorest countries in aid. People complain about our foreign aid. They should complain about the money we give to the European Union, which is actually costing us more. And unless we can get reform, that is, not ban immigration, I'm not against immigration, we should be able to control who comes into our country. And we can't do that under our present terms of membership. We should be able to export the terrorist suspects instead of it taking years to courts to get rid of people like Abu Qatada. We should be able to deport foreign criminals once they're convicted back to their home country. These are the sort of things, the sort of controls that we need. At the moment, it's costing us too much. It's taking away the right to govern our own country, to make our own laws. And you know, making your own laws is what democracy is all about. And we are the only party that can guarantee a referendum. The perhaps one or two. That's not going to guarantee a referendum.
We
We will guarantee a referendum if we get a majority. There will be no referendum if there's a Lib Lab or SNP pact. No referendum at all. You will not get your say that you deserve.
Thank you very much.
It will come to a surprise to the audience and others that I'm in significant support for the EU. I believe that it requires significant improvement. And we, as the Democrats, have said that we will offer a referendum if significant reforms are made and significant changes are made to the agreement. And I think that's pretty well established that that's what we said. Why did I vote against it?
We need to get to the end of the evening.
As the question is phrased, and as you can tell, this is a debate in itself. It could take all day, and of course, we have an election. I like the EU. I like being able to go anywhere in Europe. I like being able to go to work in Europe. I like being able to go and live there. I don't see why it should be anything for those people coming around here too. We have a net contribution from being part of the EU, not a net deficit. It's just got simply not backed by any prognosis. Otherwise, for many years, I agree with my colleague actually, he said that we've been without war in Europe since the Second World War. It's a significant coincidence that we have not been in war with any of our business partners in the EU during this time. I do think it needs improvement. One also, last one, Martin made a point about the fishing quotas. I think there's some famous statistics of Nigel Farage's appearances at the meetings of the Fishing Commission. He had the opportunity to vote, I think it's 42, 43 times, and he attended the meetings 3 times. So, if you
Mark talks about the EU German selling his cars, and he's right, because local major car manufacturers in this country are all about saying that if we leave the EU, then they're too, because we are a major exporter of cars. We export Europe. If we leave the EU, the production will go up to the EU. If we leave it the domestic way, and where it's going, I can't see how we leave the right way, we'll have tariffs, and we will also lose Harwich as we were before, which would be a disaster. Even if we don't, even if we're lucky and we leave on our terms, we're going to be in the position of Norway. We could say, we're bound by all the EU's rules, we pay rent with them, but we have precisely zero say. However, the great advantage is that we would no longer be bound by social channel, which the Tories are very keen on. But I don't think that the major problem with the European Union is not that this work has too many votes. So I see no benefit after leaving the EU, and I'm not in favour of the referendum.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming towards the end of the evening, and I think the panelists are very well, very disciplined in answering the questions. And thank you to all who produced questions. Sorry we haven't covered everything, there were some areas we weren't able to cover. And I'd like to thank my colleague Janet as well, who's been timely. Thank you very much. But we're going to end now with each candidate has got a chance to say why we should vote for them. And I hope why we should vote for them, not why we shouldn't vote for one another. So it's your turn to start. 2 minutes each.
Okay, so the big thing that separates the Greens from the other parties is how we want society to function. We don't believe in the excessive need for growth. Growth in the past meant prosperity growth. So when we had growth, it meant wages went up, and then jobs paid better, and then we all came wealthier. Over this one, we haven't seen that happen. We've seen growth happen eventually, and we've seen wages stagnate or just about start to recover. We need to decide now as a society what kind of economy we want. One that just continues to grow so it rises the GDP figure, or one that benefits everyone in this room. So it's about saying what we consume goods, we buy a new phone, we buy a new house, we buy a house, we buy a car, to benefit us as socially and social. So for instance, I buy phones, I can talk to my friends, I can get emails from Peter to tell me about Hustings, all those things. I don't need to buy a new phone right after that. I don't need to keep buying new things. And obviously that would be bad for the growth agenda that we pursue now. But we need to say, well, actually, we only live on one planet. It's not like we're going to find another one that we can live on soon. So we need to live within the means that our planet gives us. And so that means not consuming, throwing away. It means building things that last, building things that are making things that work and that we can use. So we don't have to keep working longer, we don't have to work more, to buy more, to get more, to be better. We can work, we can be aiming for an economy that works less. We just want to make the full-time work 35 hours rather than 40. We work less, we enjoy society more, we enjoy our friends, our family more. We consume what we need, we enjoy to benefit us in a social way, in an environmental way, in a way that means that we can benefit together in a world that we actually want.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you again for your questions. Thank you for coming and being so patient and listening to us when elections should be as much about listening to you, us listening to you. And thank you to everyone on the panel, because I think we've been quite nice to each other, which is better than the rest of a lot of this election has been. The real question at the heart of this election is what sort of country we want to live in. And perhaps a bit disappointing has been the tone of the campaign between all the parties. It's scrappy, it's bitty, but if you believe that governments can create jobs, governments can create wealth, governments can resolve all the problems in society, well then you won't vote for me. But if you believe that actually that it's businesses and communities and families that make society tick, that make the economy tick, that we need to keep government in check, we need to keep government under control. We need to keep the size of the government from taking too much of your wealth and too much of your money. Well, then you'll be tending to vote Conservative. And the big risk of this election is there's going to be another hung parliament. And that will be dominated by people who want to spend your money with ideas to spend your money that you and your family cannot actually afford. We're just getting this economy sorted out after the wreckage left by the last government, the terrible crash. I'm afraid it always happens. The Labour Party usually crashes the economy, and the Conservatives have to put it back on the road. We haven't finished the job. We've got to finish the job. And if we don't finish the job, there's a great danger that we'll go backwards again. And we can only afford the public services and the roads and infrastructure and generate the jobs that we need if we have a strong economy. And that's what we're producing. Having produced 2 million new jobs since we got in 2010, having taken 27 million people out of tax so that they can spend their money on what they want and not what governments want. Thank you very much indeed.
I'd just like to echo Bernard's thanks to all of you for coming tonight. I know it's not easy on a Sunday evening, and it's very, very pleasing to see such a packed house, so thank you for that. The Liberal Democrats are needed in government. We've been doing an excellent job alongside the Conservatives, but we are needed alongside the Conservatives because without us there will be excessive and unnecessary cuts. The Conservatives are talking about staying the course on the path of recovery, but that's essential to have, it is essential to have the Liberal Democrats as part of that government, because without it the Conservatives will cut beyond what is necessary. And if they're going to get into as the major party, the Liberal Democrats will need in order to prevent the excessive spending that has characterised the coalition is inevitable. I think the decision for all the voters across the UK what kind of coalition we require. Do we want the Liberal Democrats to prove that we can do an excellent job in putting the economy back together, or do we want an SNP or perhaps the UK coalition too? But I'll leave that with your thoughts. Thank you.
when we come to decide how to vote, we should spend less time worrying about how everybody else is going to vote. We should not worry about tactical voting. We should worry about what our values are. Now, my values are hard work, community, social solidarity. They're not represented. They're not represented by a low-wage zero-hour economy. They're not represented by a hamster on the NHS shambling towards privatisation. They're certainly not represented by breadwinner tax. I'll go for Labour. I'm proudly standing for Labour. Because I want jobs that are enough to live on. Nobody should be so low paid that they have to be subsidised by the benefit system, even though they're in full-time work, and yet over a million people are. I can really care for the NHS throughout my life. I'm diabetic, it saved my life on more than one occasion. I want gold standard NHS, free quality use, and integrated with social care. I want excellent childcare for families. So people don't have to choose between looking after their children and working. And I want a country where we trust our politicians, which is why we're not making wild promises. We're saying these are the things we will do them. If we do more, we will. And I think that represents our values.
This lecture is not about me, it's not about my colleagues on the platform, it's not about our political parties, it's about you. It's about you people who give up some of the evening to come and listen to us. Because people tend to make the right decisions and the right choices. If you think of this building that we're in today, soon after this building was built, if you were spoken to people and said, well, what's the political makeup? They said, well, the Whigs have just won the general election. The Whigs? Yes, the Whigs. What became of them? Then if you move towards the Edwardian age, just before this building celebrated its centenary, we would have seen the last Liberal majority government elected. Yes, 100 years since the last Liberal majority government. And then the emergence of the Labour Party, because people got the decision right. They wanted representation. So the time was right for Labour. I'm proud to say my grandfather was an active socialist, as was my father. Bring it on to the 90s, only time will tell. 1992, that was the last time we elected a Conservative majority government. 23 years of counting. And if there is not elected again, it doesn't like they're going to get the majority, it will be towards 30 years. At what point do you realise politics has changed? My party has come of age, it's 21 this year. We have a manifesto that is as professional, it is fully costed, it is trying to bring together not left, not right, what is right, what is wrong, what is fair, how we want to create our society, how we want to participate in it, what our dreams are, what our aspirations are, what we want for our family. It's not for politicians to tell you, it's for you to drive us, and that is what is going to foster change in this country. And it might happen immediately this election, but we need better politics, and the British people usually get it right, and I trust them to do the same this time.
So thank you all very much. I'd very much like to say thank you to our panelists tonight, not only for being here, but for the way they've handled things tonight. I'd also like to thank them for actually being candidates, because democracy is one of the treasures of this country, and it takes guts to stand. So thank you very much again for that, all of you. And thank you all very much for coming, and have a safe journey back, and don't forget the date, May the 7th.
So we took the entire thing in high definition and we on YouTube tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every word. I wish you could the mic is very we're going to have to play some further volumes. It's interesting. It's serious
weird when you do that, I know, you always think that.
We'll see what Paris thinks of it when they watch it. But it will be there.
Someone again now to your warm stuff. Yeah, you'll see me with a really big thing and he goes in there.
It's happened. No threat. No threat. No threat. It's very, I'm sure we'll talk. Take care. We went to our first hustings in Harwich. All 5 candidates. We could barely contain ourselves. Pause for thought, maybe. Use your paw to press that button. Read the manifestos. Use the paw. Ask a question. Just 5 buttons. So guys, you want to know more about what these folks are saying? We've got this in 5 boxes. From your phone, touch a button, learn more about the red, the blue, the yellow. Who've I forgotten, gang?
Purple.
Purple.
And green.
All the colours of the rainbow. 1 box. Touch the box, read their manifestos, ask their candidates a question. Live. On the internet, what they say back to you may influence your vote. Thanks for watching. Don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Good night.